quorum for the transaction of business at any meeting of the commission to perform any business except as herein reserved for a different plurality or majority. So basically 4, unless it's a required supermajority to amend and repeal bylaws, which I think is 2/3. So that would be 5. Section 11, manner of acting, except as otherwise expressly required by law or the bylaws. The affirmative vote of the majority of the commissioners present at any meeting at which a quorum is present shall be the act of the commission. Each commissioner shall have a vote. Voting by proxy shall be permitted, provided, however, that the proxy demonstrate whether it be unlimited or limited procuration. In other words, if you're carrying somebody's proxy, it's incumbent upon the person who gives it and you to show. It doesn't state it has to be in writing, but it's always best. You have the burden of showing if that proxy is totally unlimited, which means you can vote on any issue for anything for that person, or whether there are limitations. And here's the kicker. If you can't demonstrate it or it's ambiguous, whatever way you do it, it's unlimited. So it's on the person who's giving the proxy away to make sure they get their business in order. That's who we're putting the burden on. If you decide you're going to give your proxy and you want it to be limited to one issue, you better make sure it's either communicated to someone in administration or another member, or it's in writing. If you trust, if Janice trusts John totally with her life, then she's not going to worry about it, and she's going to know that John does whatever. And that's how that would work. So make sure you understand those things. Let's see. Section 12, unanimous written consent in lieu of a meeting. The commission may take action without a meeting if written consent to the action is signed by all of you. So if you formulate some type of official resolution for action and everyone signs off on it and it's all in legal accord, you can dispense with the meeting, but not necessarily the notice requirements for the action. So we'd have to probably go through the city attorney to see. Telephone meetings, section 13. Everyone can participate in a conference call, provided that everyone can hear everyone in the meeting. So it can't be someone calls you on the cell phone and you're relating what they say. Everyone has to be as if the person's in the room, but everybody can do it by telephone if you wish. Conflicts of interest, section 14. I'll read that one in its entirety. Subsection A, in the event any commissioner has a conflict of interest that might properly limit such commissioners' fair and impartial participation in commission deliberations or decisions, such commissioner shall inform the commission as to the circumstances of such conflict. If those circumstances require the non-participation of the affected commissioner, the commission may nonetheless request from the commissioner any appropriate information which might inform its decisions. Conflict of interest as referred to herein shall include, but shall not be limited to, any transaction by or with the City of Alexandria or CLECO Corporation in which a commissioner has a direct or indirect personal interest, or any transaction in which a member is unable to exercise impartial judgment or otherwise act in the best interests of the commission. B, no commissioner shall cast a vote or take part in the final deliberation in any matter in which he or she, members of his or her immediate family, or any organization to which such commissioner has allegiance, has a personal interest that may be seen as competing with the interests of the commission. Any commissioner who believes he or she may have such a conflict shall so notify the commission and city attorney for the City of Alexandria prior to deliberation on the matter in question. And the city attorney shall make the final determination as to whether any commissioner has a conflict in any matter, or refer that to the commission. Maybe some cases where Mr. Johnson would say, doesn't meet the legal definition, but perhaps it meets some ethical or moral obligation beyond the law, and he's going to refer that to you to decide. The minutes of the commission shall reflect disclosure of any conflict of interest and the recusal of the interested commissioner. And again, I hate to harp on Ms. Seastrong because I don't want people to think she has some. Ms. Seastrong has a disclosed, fully disclosed interest as an employee of Shepherd Center. Shepherd Center has a contract with the City of Alexandria to provide for needy payments that we make to help people alleviate the harshness of utility bills. Again, not only is it disclosed, she was asked to be a member because of that relationship. So I think that probably ends any notion about it, but
She has no ownership interest.
and she has no ownership interest in either the Shepherd Center or any property of the city or anything else. So just to make sure that everyone's clear about that, that's the case. We do not think that that issue has any bearing, Ms. Eastrunk, on that section. So I don't want you to waste time with it unless you feel there's some issue with it. Officers, this is now Article 7, Article 4, Section 1. Officers minimally consist of a chair and secretary. The secretary is Marcus Cannella. He's a non-voting member, though. You can have any assistant officers you want. If you want a vice chair, pick one. And that is fine with us, so that's up to you how you want to do it, but we needed a minimum a chair. 2, election of officers elected by the commission except for the secretary. 3, term installed at the first meeting, so electing them unless special rules be passed for interim or acting officers right now. There shall be no term, since by the charter you have to serve at the pleasure of the mayor. It's not me trying to lord anything over you. That's what the charter requires. So there's no term. You serve until you resign from office or the commission, meaning resign from your status as an officer or the commission, or election of a different officer, or removal. Resignation. Any officer may resign at any time by giving written notice to the chairman, or chairperson rather, or in the case of the chair, if it's the chair resigning to the secretary or mayor. Such resignation shall take effect at the time specified in the notice, or if no time is specified, immediately. Section 5, removal. Any officer may be removed from such office with or without cause by a majority vote of the members at any regular or special meeting of the board called expressly for that purpose. I didn't put in there or the mayor because I'm not, if I thought something was so bad that someone had to be removed, we'd exercise the authority that way. I'm not going to tell you that you need to remove your chair or anything else. That should be solely within your discretion as a commission. Vacancies are filled by the commission. The chair, Section 7. The chair shall give active direction and exercise oversight pertaining to all affairs of the commission. He or she may sign instruments such as resolutions or take other acts which the commission expressly authorizes to be executed. The chair shall perform all other duties incident to the office of chair as may be prescribed by the commission. Section 8, vice chair, if you so choose to have one. Vice chair, if created, shall fulfill the duties of the chair in his or her absence and assist the chair in the direction and oversight pertaining to the affairs of the board. Section 9, secretary, keep the minutes of the meetings, see that all notices are duly given in accordance with the provisions of the bylaws, ensure staff members keep records, and in general perform all duties incident to the office of secretary and such other duties as may be assigned or requested by you, the commission. Section 10, bonding. If requested by the commission, and only if, any person entrusted with the handling of funds, if we came to that, where there was some handling of funds that had to be done, normally that would just go through the city since you're an adjunct. If I can't envision a reason there would be, but if there ever was that, if you decided that someone handling, for example, property of the city or anything else needed it at its expense, meaning at the city's expense, you could require, and the city would provide a fidelity bond, assuming the bond was approved by you, the language and everything else. I don't envision that. If any of you scare us enough to where we think you need a bond to do something, you probably won't be serving much longer on the commission. But in case there's some reason that would come up, we included it. Article 5, committees. Committees, you can adopt them, or the chair can set them up. Designate as many as you want, consisting of at least 2 members, and it can be 2, it can be 3, whatever you say. It shall have and exercise the authority of the commission, a committee. However, it does not have the authority to change any bylaws or anything else. And of course, in your resolution setting them up, you can limit that authority. Without saying otherwise, though, if you have a committee of 2 that is to give part of a report or issue a statement to the newspaper, some of you are going to be out of town or whatever, if you give them that authority, they have the authority of the commission to do it. Vacancies in committees filled by the chair. Rules for committees or task force adopted for its meetings can be done by the committee, or you can establish it as a commission. Amendments, 2/3 vote of the membership at any meeting can amend or alter the bylaws. The minutes shall reflect those changes, and it shall be retyped to reflect the change with a revision date affixed thereto. Those are the general bylaws that are just a draft that, if you wish, you can adopt now, or you can change, or you can wait until the end of the meeting and think about them some more and do whatever you want.
Mr. Mayor, question.
Yes.
The bylaws, what I did not hear, and this is basically a question, should there be a sunset bylaws or on the commission included in the bylaws?
I think that we didn't include it in the bylaws draft for you, but that's up. If you want one, that's fine. But I thought since you were going to have as one of the line items for today's agenda is to talk about the sunset, and I guess it's as good a time as any to talk about whether that's something that how you're going to handle that. In other words, it was number 6, so we're not quite there yet. But number 6 on the agenda is policy statements, consideration of a sunset statement. At that point, maybe you could wait and then decide what you want to do about bylaws, or as Mr. Fowler suggested, you could adopt them now for the purposes of the meeting, and if you need to change something, you could. So that's up to you, but we do have a discussion of the sunset on there.
I think we should, with the oversight we've had of the bylaws, just adopt them, just to have a working set of bylaws with the caveat that we'll review them and next meeting, amend them any way that the commission sees fit.
Okay. Are you moving?
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right, so we'll operate under those bylaws. We have the agreement to abide by court orders. When we go upstairs, we'll read you the orders, the ones that are in the public record. We won't read them here because they're in the public record. Anybody can get them. For the record, I'm holding acknowledgement of receipt of KPMG audit, which you will not receive today. I have a confidentiality agreement that you will sign. I'm making reference to and will disclose to you and show you the February 07 order of the court, as well as the protective order signed January 19, 2006, and the agreed order, I think, which was the first, January 19, 2006. Yes, that was the original order. January 19, 2006, that set forth the entire mediation. So we'll go over those extensively before asking you to sign anything else, and make sure that you have the opportunity to read fully anything that would be signed. And with that, I think that gets us through presentation of bylaws. If y'all would like, right now, you could have a discussion on that media policy. I don't know what y'all wish to do about having a media policy, but I think it's something that certainly you have to do in open session, as much as that may hurt.
I think that it may be wise that we would temporarily just adopt a policy that anything that would be released from the commission would be through our attorney, our city attorney, that'd be working with the commission on a every meeting. What is his role as the
Parliamentarian
and just for the time being, just let him release any information that we wish to have released to the media. And then later, if we need to amend that policy, we can do that.
If commissioners are asked, Mr. Fowler, questions by the media, because you may get approached, like we said, in the grocery store or anything else by people, and if somebody sees you and recognizes you, I know that the newspaper will call you at home and ask you, what do you think about the commission? What's going on? What would be the policy of the commission at this point?
Well, I'm referring more to official policies of the commission, but any general questions that the media would have to ask any of us would fall within the disclosures that we've agreed to, and just general information. We're working every day and we're reviewing different things. You just have to generally answer questions however you see fit that doesn't violate the court order. And I think, but official actions of the commission that we take, maybe should, at this time, should just be released through him.
Okay.
And I don't know how the rest of the commission feels about it, but that's, yeah. But day-to-day questions, I mean, you're gonna get, Karina, she'll call you and say, why'd you do that? Why did you do that? And you just have to answer those questions as best you can without divulging anything that's protected. So, right now, we don't have a lot of media excitement, so.
I think, I think that day would come, and perhaps maybe the commission might consider that, at least when it comes to the items in front of the commission, that, and you have the right to do this, and we don't do it from the administration's end, because they feel and we agree that we should answer questions extemporaneously when asked and so forth, but you might require that if it's an official question on an official matter, it be submitted to you in writing and you answer it officially as a commission. Obviously, not all questions can be answered that way. If somebody wants to know, Mr. Scott, why are you serving, or why do you feel this is important? I mean, I think that's what Chuck was talking about.
Yeah,
That's
a fair question.
That's a fair question, and you can answer. But if someone says, what is the commission's official view on the sunsetting of whatever, well, while you're still deliberating, you're going to have to pick and choose which things. You're just going to have to use your best judgment. Part of the notion of a commission is to bring information to the public. That's ultimately what this is all about, and what people complain about, and what the Town Talk wants and other media wants to see. But the other part of a commission is, commissioners aren't politicians. Commissioners are here to do a job. And I would just tell you that your job is not to cater to every whim and caprice of questions that you haven't even had time to work through. And so I guess there's just got to be a balance there. And,
Well,
we get hit with it, but so will you.
Yeah, when there's an official recommendation, say that we decide to sell the parking meters, if that was part of utilities to Wells Fargo, that'd be something you wouldn't answer other than through the official spokesperson. But if they're asking.
Or through a report.
Or through a report. And if just general day-to-day things, are y'all talking about anything about parking meters? Well, they've been discussed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, share something
Yes.
at this. I'm gonna pass this out, and pass these down. This is from Integers. I guess it is, when you study, it's kind of, if you look at it, you'll kind of see how the mayor, his development plans for the master plan for the city, and how these Integers companies are going in, they're strategizing, they're doing economic development. And I'm saying this, I'll pass this around here now, to where you'll kind of foresee, to me, is that when in that mention about the port and that part, and some of the things that, like Integers is a large company, larger than CLECO, and how they get in the economic development plan, and how this commission and what the mayor is trying to do with the port, with the incubator, and these basic topics. If you get a chance, you look through it, and you see how to recruit people and all this. And what he's been talking about, transparency, accountability. It's more too, and what people, to the basic rate. And if you look at that, somebody.
I appreciate that, Mr. Smith.
Commission, and because these entities, these companies now, they're going real low, economic development. They're doing, strategy on plan, like what we want to do with the port and all this, and how all this stuff gonna fit in. So if you get a chance, if you know somebody that's gonna stop you and then just talk about utility, I think what we have going is,
It's bigger than that.
it's bigger than that. You're gonna deal with people, we don't have enough right now, people, you see, and Integers, you'd be surprised, it's economic development too.
And we kind of touched, it kind of came up, and one of the statements we're going to ask y'all to address will be, basically, it's kind of dead on point with where we were going to maybe, hopefully get today, what Mr. Smith said, and that is that This is about economic development. There's a whole another set of ways to look at what our future is. And I keep saying that at the risk of the public saying you're minimizing things, and I don't mean it, but you do have to de-emphasize that this is all about a case, because it's not. It's not about that at all. That's a piece of our problem, as you know from the time we spent last meeting, which wasn't about the litigation aspect of this. And so it's very important what Mr. Smith brought out, and I would encourage you to read this. And with that, he got ahead of me, but I have an economic development plan from us and a workforce plan, and I'm going to ask that y'all read all this too. You may say, well, what does it have to do with it? You'll see as we get through it. It has everything to do with it. The decisions you make on where we go with the utility, a utility can be a huge part of your economic development. And that's whether it was a municipal model, whether CLECO took it all over, we sold everything, whether we stay in a hybrid, in a version of mixing both. Whatever we do, it involves jobs and significant jobs, and it involves partnering and assets and all kind of things in this area. So I'm going to encourage you to read up, about economic development initiatives in the state, follow what the governor's plans are. All of that stuff comes into play with this.
Like when we talk about water, look at Georgia, how they running out of water. So, if large industry looking, they're going to be looking at the tool of where they get water from. They have a bad drought.
People that can't imagine that you'd run out of water. I mean, people, laugh when people have brought that up. People laugh about it.
There's another utility.
Both sides of us got water problems.
Okay, so, committee structures, we were just asked that, again, I don't know if y'all feel like discussing that now. I want y'all to decide where you want to take this meeting instead of me doing it. You need to let me know if y'all want to follow these things and do those discussions now, or if you're anxious to move to number 5, we can go out of order and come back and maybe answer some of the other things.
Why don't we get to number 5?
You ready to go to number 5?
Did we adopt a media policy?
No, that's what I was going to say. Do y'all want to wait? If you're anxious to get to number 5, then I would suggest a motion to go out of order, and then if that passes, to move to executive session, we'll go up, get these signed, move through some of that, and then come back down and go back in the regular order of the agenda.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
None opposed? All right, the motion to go out of order carries, and then a motion for the executive session.
Also move.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded.
Any discussion? Any opposed? All approve?
All right, I'm gonna leave this
Without
meeting until
opposition.
come back, so.
We reconvene. Need a second?
Second.
A second, okay. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. We reconvene. I believe we're at item number 6, assignment of general policy statements, consideration of sunset statement. My feeling is that the sunset statement, we should get a little further into this before we set a sunset. What is the opinion of the group?
I agree.
Okay.
Make a motion, we delay a decision on the sunset.
Second.
Second, a motion second to delay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Why is opposed? I have a couple of motions here that I'd like to make. I'd like to move to form a working group to compile a report of the information from members on 1228. I need a motion on that. Also move.
Motion.
The working group will be myself, Charles Frederick, and John Scott, and we'll meet tomorrow. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. I move to modify the meeting of 1228 to a meeting of the working group to form its presentation. So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, everybody's in favor. We'll move on to the next item. Next, I move, give limited proxy to the working group to compile statements, add contributions from each member, and make editorial decisions, finalize a report for publication on or before 12/31/07. So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No, nobody objects, so we'll move on. I also make a motion to adopt the bylaws and the original section of the report. I'll move.
Second.
Any opposition? Okay, that's unanimous. I think at this time, we'd consider the election of a chair, or would we defer until a seventh member is named?
I would recommend we defer until a seventh member is.
Would you make a motion to that effect?
Make a motion that we defer naming a chair until we select a seventh member of the commission.
I'll
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. I think that's all items. Did any member have anything else they'd like to bring?
Not
I'll move
this
that we
time.
adjourn.
Second.
We adjourn. Open the committee meeting of the working group on the first report. Our working group has been working since about 2 o'clock, putting together the report for release. Pursuant to yesterday's motion, we'll submit it to our lawyers in Baton Rouge for approval. Several areas have somewhat of a question whether we should release it or not at this time. And as soon as that's done, it'll be released to the media as promised on the 31st. You want to make any comments, Mr. Mayor?
No, just thank you for the diligent help. Let people know that even as of last night, people were working on into this morning, getting different pieces in, and we appreciate all of the input to get this together. It was a pretty daunting task to ask all of you to do this, to meet a 31st deadline, and it looks good. Mr. Johnson has been through it. He's made some recommendations for changes. I'm going to send it to Mr. Sharp immediately. Pursuant to your motion, we have the authorization to go ahead and once those cosmetic changes and a few substantive things are either struck or not struck, we'll be through with it, and it'll be released on Monday, although we'll be off Monday, I guess. The city will be. It will be released on time. And I just want to thank you very much for getting so much done. I think there was a lot to do in that amount of time, and I wanted to put on the record that what people may not realize is how many man hours the commission is already into this in terms of having 4-hour plus meetings to get these things done. And so thank you again, and Happy New Year to everybody.
I'm gonna second that motion.
Okay. All right, is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
With that, we adjourn this committee meeting.